So Utopia has been a big issue in our city for many years. When I ran 4 years ago, I said that I wanted to do 4 things in regards to Utopia to try to help move it along. So the first thing I wanted to do was to change the management. Management at Utopia changed within several months after my becoming mayor. Second of all, I wanted to bring in a board of advisors of industry professionals. I did that. I brought in 3 or 4 industry professionals and we put together a team and we did advice to Utopia. We talked with the ISPs. We met with the mayors. We worked hard on that. The third area I wanted to do was to slow down the spending that Utopia is doing. I've suggested that over and over again. I have not been successful in that. I did serve on the Utopia Board of Directors for 2 years. I serve now as an alternate. I've requested and worked very hard to slow their spending down. Again, I've not been able to do that. I do have 4 other cities that have agreed with me, and we have pushed forward trying to get that taken care of. But as 11 cities that own and run Utopia, there are 3 cities who have a population majority, and so if they decide to vote a certain way, then that's the way Utopia goes. The last thing I recommended that we do is either sell or partner Utopia with another company. I can see some real advantages to that. I've seen many other companies do that throughout the U.S. We did have a company that looked at possibly purchasing Utopia, and the management was against that and did not go forward with that. So I've worked hard on Utopia. Just to let you know, in the last 2 months, I have had private meetings with the management of Utopia, the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, on ideas and ways that I think might be a help to Utopia. Just this last week, I met with the state director on fiber for the Utah Department of Transportation. And also I met with a private owner of fiber within the city on ways that we and together think that we might be able to solve some of the problems. So I would like to see the debt go down. I'm against any future or additional debt for Utopia. I'm against any utility fees for Utopia on every citizen. I am for ways to improve construction. So Utopia really has 2 parts to it. It has an operational part, which is cash flow positive right now, which is excellent. Utopia's done a great job with that. But at the same time, they're still spending $1 million a month of debt money going out and constructing new lines. I believe instead of looking at this as a debt model, we should look at it as a demand model. And I've been working with several groups of citizens in Orem, together with Utopia management, to look at ways that we can market better, that we can get a higher take rate, that we can get Utopia fiber to those who want it and are willing to pay for it, and that we won't go into debt to do this. So these are important areas. I personally love fiber. I have fiber to my home. As I walk the city streets during my campaign, I have many people ask me, can we please get fiber to our homes? The reality is we need to find a way that we are not continually going into debt. So again, I would like to look at a model that is demand-driven rather than debt-driven, and that we stop going into debt. One thing that's important to remember is fiber is a great advantage for many homes, and I love what fiber is. I just have not liked the way this has been run, and I'm against going into more debt. With that said, Utopia is building out, UIA is building out part of our city down by the Sleepy Ridge Golf Course this summer and bringing fiber to that neighborhood. So the 2 things we'd like to do is bring the debt down, get rid of the debt, and then if there's a way to bring fiber to others through a demand model, do that. So Utopia stands for Utah Telecommunications Open Infrastructure Agency. It was set up in 2004. Orem signed up with it and signed a contract with them. Presently, Utopia has a $185 million worth of debt, of which 23% of that belongs to the city of Orem. We are required by law to pay down that debt. We are paying it down at the rate of $3 million per year, and it goes up by 2% per year. And that will continue on until the year of 2040. We are not allowed to get out of UTOPIA. We have responsibility to pay those bonds. Right now, the revenue stream from UTOPIA does not pay for that. So we, out of pledges of our sales tax, are obligated to pay that to the bondholders. If anybody were to get out, it would affect their bond rating and would not be beneficial. The contract with UTOPIA states that no one is allowed to leave the organization until all bonds are paid off. So it is not an option to leave. We have an obligation to pay, and so we're trying to deal with it the best way we can. Another agency was started in 2010 called the Utah Infrastructure Agency. This involves 9 out of the 11 Utopia cities. There are $65 million of debt for that, and that is being paid through the through the revenues of UIA, and so we do not pay any bond payments on that. It's important to realize that UTOPIA is comprised of 11 cities, and we have obligations to meet. So what we're trying to do is find the best way to keep our debt down, to keep from going into more debt, and finding ways to pay that debt off, while at the same time looking at ways that those who want UTOPIA can get fiber to their homes.